In a recent letter from the pastor, the Stewardship Committee series called Fearless Generosity was introduced. Over the next few weeks, members of the committee will, or other congregational members on their behalf, will address you with their portions of the program. Each will gladly, if not nervously, provide their experiences and try to tie it into the spirit of fearless generosity. At times, it may seem unconnected, as experiences begin with some change and the invested responses meant to demonstrate some connection involving overcoming fear or becoming fearless. Excuse me. Trust me, it'll all become as clear as mud. Just kidding. When I think of fearless generosity, my mind goes to two biblical instances, the widow's mite and the widow of Zarephath. In the first, here's a woman at the end of resource, and for an ancient Jewish widow, that meant much more an end than we can imagine today. She fearlessly threw in all she had in faith that overcame worldly odds to trust God for provision. In Zarephath, during a famine, a widow, also at the end of her resource, was gathering kindling for a fire to prepare a meal of her last worldly ingredients of flour and oil, and then die of hunger with her son at the end of hope. Elijah asked from her for a small loaf be prepared for him. He promised God's provision that her oil and flour would then never empty. Imagine the faith and overcoming of fear it took to do so. And she did. To conclude, my week is entitled Fearless Living. It's my job to tell you how I did something new personally to celebrate God's gift of life. So I'm here to describe my second Genesis, a time which could be the most fearful of my life, yet moved to be a joyful renewal. On November 27th and 28th, 2012, I suffered an acute myocardial infarction, a heart attack. In lack of proper response, I incurred damage ranging from 33 to 50% of my heart. At this point, many responses are possible following the surgeon's art. Ignore the new requirements to live with an aching heart. Lock yourself into so strict a regimen that you no longer really live anyway. Or be a steward of the life you're given and responsibly but not rigidly live. Why I say steward? Well, God has entrusted you with your life regardless of limitations. How you treat it is your stewardship. A steward is a respected and responsible caretaker of resource. So, off I went and spent many hours of study to understand and live to the utmost with my condition. Let me tell you, reading labels on foodstuffs has become a part in itself. I need to prepare many of my own foods because of ingredients and parameters within which I must keep my limits. The intensive recognition of what I need to do to survive well and fearlessly within my condition is a daily companion. On the other side of the coin, you'll see me at spaghetti night, where there are many food aspects that are just above my parameters. There's a need to balance, a give and take, which I'm convinced is an integral part of what God has trusted me with. In essence, being a good steward of the life God has repurposed me with, and living it as fearlessly as possible. Thank you.
Amen.